Today we're opening our 2017 Atlas East Cabernet. And to pair with that, we're gonna make pork Milanese, which is basically a pork chop that we're gonna pound, bread, and pan fry in some clarified butter. And it's gonna go really well with our round, savory Mountainside Cabernet. First thing we're gonna do is clarify our butter. So I have a pound of butter here, and we'll throw it into a pan, melt it down. And as it heats, the whey proteins will rise to the top. And we'll skim those off because those are what will burn if you're frying with butter. So this is what we're gonna skim off. And also all the water is evaporating out of the butter. So when we're done with this, it'll just be pure fat. I've skimmed off all the whey proteins that rose to the top. And now we'll just strain this butter through some cheesecloth, and that'll hold back any other additional proteins. Now we're gonna prep our pork chops. So first we're gonna make some breadcrumbs. This is just white bread. It's a pain de mie, which is good for this type of thing. So we'll just cut this up into smaller pieces and throw it in the Cuisinart. So this looks pretty good. We just want it all pretty evenly ground up. And we can throw that into our tray. This is probably like a cup and a half, maybe. So we're gonna add some grated Parmesan to our breadcrumbs and just mix that up. And the breading is gonna be a 3-step process. So first we're going to dredge them in flour. So I have about a cup of white flour. And then after the flour, we'll dip it in some egg, which we can whisk up, and then into the breadcrumbs. So flour, egg, breadcrumb. Just whisk this, and we'll add a little pinch of salt to this, to the egg, and also to the flour. So these are pork rib chops rather than loin chops, and they're bone on. And so I had the butcher cut them across lengthwise. So we want to pound them till they're about a ½ an inch thick. These are already pretty thin. So we'll just take them a little bit further. We'll put them here between 2 pieces of parchment. And then I like to use a spatula to keep it even and consistent, so that way you're not pounding in one spot more than another. This will help keep it smooth. Pretty good, ½ an inch. And I'll just do that to all the rest of the chops. Now that our pork is all pounded, we can season them lightly with salt and then bread them. So I have a little assembly line here. First, we'll coat the pork chop in flour and shake off some excess. And make sure you totally get it coated. And then drop it into the egg. And now we'll switch hands. So I have my dry hand and my wet hand. And we'll coat this. And then, make sure you get everything in there. That'll help the breadcrumbs stick. Let the excess drip off. And then we go into the breadcrumb. Strategically using our hands, keeping one wet and one dry, just so it doesn't get gross and clumpy. And also this way you don't have to keep re-washing your hands between each one. Now we can fry our Milanese. So I have this big cast iron pan here, and we're gonna add the clarified butter. Yeah, and there's a nice little simmer happening. It smells so good. We have these here on a medium flame, and we'll cook them for about 3 minutes on each side. We want them to get nice and golden, not too dark. You want there to be enough butter in here that it comes about halfway up the sides. You know, we'll flip it over and do 3 minutes on the other side too, but that means you just want to make sure like the edge gets nice and golden. While our pork chops are frying, I'm gonna prep some lemon. Pork Milanese really loves like a squeeze of lemon on top, so we'll get that ready. And then also I have some arugula, fennel, and frisee that we'll toss in like a shalloty Dijon vin, and that'll help bring some like brightness and acidity. I also have some tomatoes here from the garden that we'll just wedge up and sprinkle with some salt and olive oil, and that'll help with like, you know, juicy, bright freshness to our Milanese. So it's been 3 minutes and these look nice and golden brown. So delicately flip them, making sure not to splatter. I mean, come on. When you're frying them, I like to like shake it a little bit, and that'll help make sure that there's butter underneath, so you get like an more even fry. Just gonna check in over here and see how we're doing. I want it to get a little bit more color on the bottom, so just gonna turn the flame up a little bit. Ooh, looks so good. Pull these off. This is gonna make your whole house just smell like the most delicious butter. Sprinkle those with some salt. So these, you can see they have a nice even fry on both sides. Yeah, that one looks so good. Okay. Grab one of these beauties. And then I'm gonna toss my salad. You can also just use lemon and oil, but I kind of like the way you get that like sharpness from the Dijon and the shallots. Okay, here we go. Let's hear that crunch. So rich and decadent. And the butter and the lemon. It's perfect.